Hold on. They thought we were done. Greatest nation since United Nations. All rights reserved. You already know. CommenterNation forever. Commenter Galaxy. Commenter Universe. Let's get into it. The forensic science angle. This is actually forensic scientist angle. And we're going to hit all the forensic related science that went on with this situation. Now, you know, I don't usually take notes, but I had to and when I take notes, it's like 2 words because it jogs my memory. Let's get into it. Enough playing around. Now, playing with fire, to the window, to the wall. I know y'all know that song, to the windows, to the wall. Let me break it down, the ideology on how this affects the situation. XxXTentacion showed up to Riva Motorsports, okay? Someone named where they blatantly saw photos of forensic scientists, people for the state there right away. We didn't see it. Matter of fact, they allege a Riva Motorsports manager pulled him out the car and tried to help him, right? Now think about that. Keep your mind on that fact. Let's get over to the morgue. The mortician. There was a alleged, again, because no one wants to come out and say it is, fake death certificate released. I even spoke on it in the past. Now think of that. What is the importance for anyone's certificate to be released, even if it was the real one or a ploy? Why? Why are they putting their fingers so hardly into releasing this? And the name tagged on it, I researched them. I researched you. And I'm going to leave that there. But aside from that, did you know that TheCzarr was hit up by a source that owned ownership of a mortician, ownership of a company dealing with morticians? What was the chance of that? And I knew it right away, but I said, let me be quiet. I said, let me just see what they're talking about. What was the chance of that? And then I'm supposed to be confused because what? That's where the slander guy, that's where the slander's coming from. Literally. That tag, that title, it's a mortician / lawyer. That's where I'm getting heat from. Why? How is that possible? Why would you attack me too? You know, I'm going to leave it at that. That's my confusion dealing with the forensic part of it. But let's get into it. Playing with fire. Tentacion, was he playing with fire by ineptly getting into some female's feelings, but then still living like a rolling stone? Was someone tagging him as playing with fire? You know, was her broken heart enough to lead to a mentality of this guy's a problem? Now, to the windows, to the wall. Let's think of it. It's not just a song. Think of it in this scenario. To the window where the suspects ran up to him, to the wall where we seen the passenger retreat to. Think of that distance. What was able to be done within that distance? What was the distance from them to get to his window, from their car, for the passenger to run from his side to Riva Motorsports once again? You see, that was where the lie came from. Remember, Victor said he was at his car. He was at his window. How did he not get seen on video? We seen someone running, but he was able to make it from the window to the wall. Tentacion couldn't even back the car up, which could go faster from him being at the window to the walls of Riva Motorsports within seconds. How on foot were they more versatile than him in his car? Something's not right there. You can rewatch the video. I rewatched it. You can rewatch the points and think about this. From his window to the wall of Riva Motorsports, we don't even have video of the suspects walking out. Where's the forensic information? Normally with cases like this, that is provided. Why is it not provided? We don't even see investigators. Matter of fact, it was alleged investigators botched some evidence. Is that true or false? Let's ask them. Why is it that they stopped accepting information at a certain time? I believe there was a certain scenario that occurred that they backed off of that and began investigating. There was something that happened in between that little time. The same time the passenger ran from his door to Riva Motorsports, that is within the same time something happened that took away some type of danger, some type of instilling of let's get this info. In a split moment, something was realized about this situation. That's what you need to understand. Even though these factors are swirling, there was in some time an enlightenment happened over this situation to persuade it to become as it's became. And you see, there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to speak about it like this because some of their minds don't go this deep. Some of them can't see more than what's right in front of their face. Some of them just use the spiritual mind to think about something. We're critically thinking on the reality and logic placed before me. What can I say if they're saying, well, the bank said that they found the money on the suspects? I wouldn't know unless they proved it. But within the time of you arresting it, from the window to the wall, how'd you have time to know that this money was Tentacion's? From the window to the wall, how'd you have time to know we got to go to Atlanta? How'd you have time to know let's go to New York to pick up Trayvon Newsom? How'd you know this? How'd you know this without first stopping by the house? If I'm presuming Michael Boatwright was a suspect, why midway through the case do I decide to go past his house instead of going past it if I presume him to be a suspect if he was already arrested for something? To think about this logically. When you start thinking logic and reality from the window to the wall type time, that's within a moment's notice. That's within a moment's notice. That's covering space within a moment's notice. They covered states within a moment's notice. How? What was the deciding factor? Because we know there's no way they'd still be holding charges over Dedrick D. Williams so harshly if they didn't presume that he was able to do something if he didn't fight for that. If he didn't fight for it, old man, if he didn't fight for it, why wouldn't he, how would he even have any leeway to fight? He made it. Why would he be fighting so hard if everything was cut and dry? These are the simple things that any mind could get together. These are the simple things. We're thinking about it this way. Forensics. Where's the forensics? We don't even see a forensic team. We see photos of it. I seen a fire truck photo before I seen a forensic team. Why is that? Did the forensic team ever talk about the no blood thing? Release said anything like, no, there was blood. Why haven't they come out and spoken? That's because there's funny business. Something's not right. And something happened. And when I'm hearing about investigators at parties, oh, investigators allegedly suspended and investigators this, investigators that, and the only solid names we get are the investigators who are the experts who are doing an analysis on it. Why does a forensic expert needs to be brought in by a suspect? To do what? That tells me forensic didn't do their job up front. That's key. That's key. Right after a crime, if forensic doesn't do their job, evidence evaporates. It goes away. There's no way to prove it. And if that is the likelihood of that occurring, this was wanted. But why? Why was this wanted? Why would someone want evidence to disappear if I'm putting men under a case that I'm trying to get evidence from? Does that even make sense? No, does that even make sense? Let's be realistic. You can't tell me a scenario that makes sense. You can't even explain it to me or try to. Playing with fire. Listen, anyone who was jealous, that wanted revenge, that had some type of pride about themselves, it was playing with fire. Every day as a celebrity, you were playing with fire because they say keep your enemies closest. No, you want to dominate your enemies. I understand that. Keep them close. I get it. But if you keep them too close, can we not say these type of situations as with X happens? One thing I do know is sometimes your worst enemies can become your best friends. That's a fact. That is very true. But in that same token, that's circumstance. What circumstance presented X playing with fire? What circumstance presented the fact forensics wouldn't go in and do what they needed to do, even present information, and it would lock down everything? The coroner rushes in. What circumstance? What circumstance from the windows to the wall do we see someone running? Do we see someone claiming to have been there, telling the whole story, but having ran inside? That they couldn't use a cell phone to call for 911, but randomly we can't even hear the call they made. Do you get me? Let's get into the next one. But you know how I rock. That is my breakdown of the forensic scientist, or the lack thereof, motion. Get ready for the next. All rights reserved.